Welcome to the FitFam podcast.
Today, we're going to talk about something pretty interesting. Excuses. Common excuses for not eating healthy and exercising. Let's jump to it.
This guy is Doug, the formulator.
And this is Miss Natural Olympia, Hillary. And as always, if you love the content, like the content, click the button below. Hit the bell so that you're reminded when new episodes come out. Would love to hear your comments too. It's one of our favorite things is to read your comments, and we're really going to spend some of the next podcast really focusing on call to actions, trying to actually enact change in people. So we're excited about you following along with us, and that's kind of one of the big ones today that we're talking about, right? Like we're diving into something that we've all faced. We hear it all the time. And it's not just in our world of health and fitness. We're going to relate it to health and fitness today, but you can think about it, in any area that we make excuses, because we all make excuses at high levels, no matter who we are, all the time. And it's just how fast we can get through them and adapt and realize that it is an excuse and get back on track. So this is definitely not something that we don't have a problem with. Everyone on the planet does. It's just that part of our job in working with the doctors and our concierge clients is helping people with these things. So we're going to dive into the excuses for not eating healthy or hitting the gym.
I like it. So let's get into the excuse number one, which is the one that we hear, I think, most often. And sometimes it feels like the most logical one, which is I don't have time to exercise or eat healthy. Time.
Yeah, and really think about it, because one of my favorite scenarios with people that say they don't have time is just reframing it into that we all make time for what we feel is most important. It's not necessarily what we want to do, because sometimes we're doing things for our family and all that, but it's still what we're wanting to do, maybe for a long-term benefit. Might not be that I like doing this one thing, but I'm doing it because I am supporting my family, or I'm wanting such and such outcome. And so truly everything we do, it's because it's what we've chosen to be the priority, right, for the outcome we're wanting.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we think what we need to do, and we make it, we think that it's going to take way more time than it actually does to either exercise or eat healthy. And I think the first thing that we can do is take small steps. So instead of biting off, this huge, amount of exercise and eating clean and all of that, we can just say, okay, what are some small action steps that I can take right now that won't disrupt my day so much? And sometimes that means starting slow with exercise, 15 minutes, and I can do that 5 days a week. And you start there.
And it is. And it's like the same thing you hear. You've probably heard that before, but you haven't put it into play because you think, I'm waiting to do this big change. And what we want to have today is a paradigm shift that statement is so true, that we've learned over decades of doing this, that it is those small steps. Very few people can jump from nothing or even a slightly once in a while to full out and stay with it. That's great if you can, but if you can, you'd already be doing it, right?
Yeah, most of us are toe dippers. We want to get into the water slowly and steady. And so, we have clients right now who basically 3 days a week is what they can 100% commit to for working out. And so, or that's what they could commit to at the very beginning. So that's where we started, 3 days a week. And now I think we're up to sometimes 5 days a week, and they're incorporating other ways where they can maintain health, like walks after dinner, or when they travel, instead of taking Ubers places, they'll walk different places. So they've now incorporated, they're going to be at those places anyways. They're going to be traveling no matter what. So how can I incorporate health while I'm gone anyway?
Well, and that's a good point. Like Hillary works out so much and has such a routine, and we travel so much, and not all the time based on her decision, but she's with me, that it's a known thing that when we're going through airports or we're doing things, that Hillary will, the high majority of the time, take the stairs and get there at the same time everyone else, that's on the escalator or whatever. But it's those little things. And I think that one thing that I heard a while back, and I can't remember what it was at, but it's this speaker said, everyone pull their phones out and look at your screen time that you're on, screen time for just scrolling, things like that a day, and see what it is. And we encourage you to do that. Do that right now. And the average is going to be at least a few hours a day on average. And even if you're someone that's not at that level and it's 30 minutes or so, understand most of people's 2, 3, 4 hours, and they don't realize it's that much time of scrolling. Just decide right now, okay, I'm going to take 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is a day, even like you said, 10 or 15, but every day. And instead of scrolling, you're not giving up something important, right? Then I'm going to, during that time, do something towards physical activity or nutrition, meaning you're going to jump down and do some push-ups, you're going to do some standing squats, you're going to go for the walk, you're going to think about what the next meal is going to be and do a little bit of planning, throwing out some junk maybe that you don't, that shouldn't be in your home, but it's an action, not like, okay, now let me plan something to do with nutrition and exercise. No, you take that straight 20-minute time frame that you were doing something that wasn't truly, moving your life forward in a positive way, and take action during that time, though, not thoughts, true action, whatever it is. I can't think of what to do. Then do standing squats and push-ups, right? I can't think of what to do. All right, I think I'll just throw something out of the pantry that doesn't belong there, or plan the next meal, as I mentioned. That's some simple action steps that you can do right now to the time factor. And as Hillary said, then just start adding time to that. And it is one of the main questions we ask. What will you commit to each week for your exercise, and how much time will you put in to plan your meals? Whatever your answer is, we're going to make a program for you.
Yeah, and sometimes with nutrition, it can be easy as swaps. We're like, well, I don't have time to make all these healthy meals. Well, okay, then just stop buying soda. So that's, it can be as easy as not all these things that you need to add, but some of the things that you need to subtract. So some of the things that you can subtract. So swapping water for soda, water for soda. And instead of prepackaged snacks, you can always have fruit available for
Berries,
kids, just even bananas, oranges, apples, things that they can just grab right off the table. So sometimes it's just as easy as swaps as you're trying to get the hang and feel like you can manage more time towards it.
And a little hack for that is frozen, right? I love frozen grapes, berries. You can just throw them in there and it makes it even better. So with excuse number one, you don't have time to exercise or cook. It's about that reframing and taking a look at the priorities and just taking that time that you're not spending doing anything productive and decide to do something healthy. And it's so important that we have spent the time and the efforts to make the app that we have called the Healthy Habits Tracker. And a part of the Healthy Habits Tracker, go and download it for free, is that you're able to do the 21-day challenge. And all that is healthy swaps. Just like, okay, don't eat fried food, eat more berries and fruits. Do this, simple little changes that don't take a lot of time. It's a better pattern. It's a healthier pattern through the day. So time really is relevant. And I've heard some speakers go so deep into this being like, that's BS, and like that kind of hardcore approach to it. And that's not really our approach. It's more of like, got it, but let's really take a look at your day and see if we can start fitting something in. And as you see the benefit from that, we can increase it.
Okay, so excuse number 2, I don't like healthy food or gym workouts. This one we do hear from time to time, people saying that they don't like healthy food. I would say with that, just start experimenting with different foods. You don't have to, if you don't like kale, then just don't make it a part of your diet. Like, there are other nutrient-dense vegetables and fruits that you can get that you like. Sometimes I think we make nutrition too difficult, and just simplify it. Eat the things that you like that are healthier. And then as far as gym workouts, while we do feel like it is imperative that we all build muscle, if we're just now starting to try to create healthy habits and workouts are a part of that, then instead of forcing yourself to go to a gym that you hate to do, find an exercise that you enjoy. So you're going to have to experiment a little bit.
And then that's the thing, is one of the benefits of nutrition is that we've learned over the years, just from the data, is that there's a plethora of different types of vegetables that benefit your body, of fruits, of berries, antioxidants, proteins, fats. And there's a lot of great choices. This doesn't have to be one. And I remember writing a program one time for an athlete, and I was asking them how they were liking the foods. And like, well, I don't taste those. And I'm like, you eating them? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, I don't taste them. I found a way to mix them up in my shake, and have other, spices and stuff in there so that I don't taste them. It reminded me of that from our Nels talking about like kale and that. And so even if it's a food like you absolutely feel that you need and there's not a substitute, you still can find ways with spices and stuff to make it better. But as Hillary said, usually there's a substitute for that food in a different category. We went out to eat the other night when we were gone, and my one food I think on planet Earth, like the only food that I really don't care about that much, is
I don't think that is you don't care about it, and you hate it. Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. But those same nutrients are found in a lot of vegetables, so it's okay to do that. So I think that I don't like healthy food or gym workouts. Um, I think Hillary's approach is much better. And mine many times is, look, don't eat to live, live to eat. Like, come on. Like, this is the most important thing you can do for the health of your body, to be present for yourself, your spouse, your family, to have energy, to be able to provide like you need to at any level, whether, no matter what your role is in life, as a child, a mother, a father, husband, wife, whatever it is. And I still think that having that outlook on it is a healthy outlook, but to also have, like Hillary loves food, and she loves, that's the right. You watch the Food Channel and all those things, and so okay, then find a way to make those things tastier because you love that at a deeper level than it's just eating to live. And what about the gym? Because we love the gym. Like,
Yeah, nowadays there's just so many different options for all kinds of different workouts, both anaerobic and aerobic. So there really is very little excuse to not getting your exercise in. Even in lifting weights and building muscles, there's so many different ways to do it now that are all beneficial. We would say we have our favorites and we would say the most scientifically proven, but honestly, the most scientifically proven exercise is the one that you're going to do.
consistently,
So
yeah.
consistently. So consistency is the key here, and just keep trying and finding, different ways, different things to do that maybe spark your interest a little bit more.
And it might not be the gym. Actually, we don't love a lot of gyms. Like, we'll like the personal, maybe the bodybuilding gyms and things like that and stuff like that. But you don't see us very often at the big box gyms per se. And so it's not even necessarily you having to love the gym. There's a lot of equipment that you can have in your own home now that is so great. We have a couple of clients using the tonal system, right? That is really self-explanatory, and it takes you through a workout, and you have the screen there, the mirror and all that. There's so many different things. So you can be creative now a lot more than in the past about where you get your workout in and the environment, the vibe that you want there. Whether it's just you in this room, like we had for many years of our marriage, just a bedroom being converted, or being out in the gym. So find your vibe, and there's a way to exercise within that vibe, either by yourself, with just with family, or in open type gyms. So I think that the gym one is something that's easy to fix because you can create the gym anywhere you're at, and that vibe. So that excuse, I don't like healthy food or gym workouts, pretty easy to fix that. And any questions? This is one of those too. You can say, like, look, this is a food I really feel like I should eat. I was told I should eat. What's a substitute for that food? Or, hey, Hillary, what's a great way to prepare that food to make it taste better? Send your comments. Would love to hear them and get back to you on it. So excuse number 3.
Excuse number 3, it's not worth the effort. I don't see results fast enough. I think this one is about commonplace for everyone. But I think sometimes this one is one of those that we need to, instead of trying to look for outward results from our healthy habits, we need to look inward. So before things start to show in an outward appearance, things are going on the inside that we don't know. So blood work is critical at this point, because when we say it's not worth the effort, I'm not seeing results fast enough, your blood work will indicate the changes that you're making internally if you're not seeing them on the outside yet. The other thing is evaluate your health in a different way. So instead of basing it upon, well, I don't see more muscle, I don't see fat loss, are you sleeping better? Do you have more energy? Things like that. Are you getting stronger in the gym? These are all ways to evaluate your progress without actually having to visually see a change. So, and then keeping in mind return on investment, that your health is a marathon and it is a constant, we have to constantly give it love and attention. And over time, you will see and feel the changes. But what happens most of the time is that most of us will start a healthy habit and we will go just far enough where we're having to pump that well super, super hard. And, the water is just about to sprout up. And then we let off because we don't see the results. So we are all usually right at that changing moment. It's when it feels the hardest and we're not getting results that we give up, that if we would just push through, all of a sudden the miracle happens.
Yeah, and I love the action step that came up for this one, and that is to track non-scale, your weight, non-scale wins for 30 days. And that's, again, where the Healthy Habits Tracker comes in if you want to use that, or you can do anything. Like, do you know that drinking a gallon of water today would benefit you, right? If you don't, chat GPT it, right? Like it's obvious that that's something good. And you know that not drinking soda would be good for you. There's those things that that are healthy to do and things to take out that is causing damage. Pick some of those things for 30 days and see the return on investment, the overall outlook, your energy, right? Everything. And see that not just scale wise. So there's a lot of things you can track that are non-scale activities to see return on investment. And the big thing about return on investment is that we always look to see what would be the biggest return on investment the fastest. So we have clients that we know some of their scale weight. I remember one that we came on and we're like, oh, blood pressure, track blood pressure, because that's what we're going to focus on. All we're going to do is eat healthier, exercise a little more consistently, take the right nutrients, and watch what happens. And the tracking and the excitement came from the blood pressure getting back to where, it belongs. So there's a lot of things you can track, like with the blood work and that aren't scale. Once you get those wins, many times most of the time, the scale will happen by just improving your other habits and tracking those. And then the scale just goes down instead of hyper focusing on it. And the last thing I'd say on return on investment, though, is take a look at your life and just say, look, if I was a little bit leaner, if you have body fat that you need to lose, if I had more energy, my joints didn't hurt as much, if I fit better in my clothes, would I be better off in some way? Would I feel happier? Would I be able to get more done, spend more time with loved ones, be more present? And think about that and like your return on investment. Your investment then is eating right and exercising, but look at the return that you truly can see in the future, what that looks like, and say, wow, that return on investment's huge. And now what's the downside of that? What's the risk? There's no risk. The only risk is you're going to be healthier. Like, there's no downside. Very few things in life don't come with, okay, let's really, the risk factor. Like when you're going to take a prescription or surgery, like I've got to weigh, the risk factor. There isn't really a risk factor with this. You're going to be better by improving your habits. So why not look at the ROI long term and say, wow, that return on investment, I want that. I want to be present. I want to feel good in my own skin. I want to have those things. So I think, we look at this a little bit further and down the excuses in a minute, but it really does come to looking at what the return on investment is long term and say, wow, that I want that. And what I have to give up to have that, there's no downside to it. Boom.
Yeah. And I think excuse number 4 is actually kind of the same as excuse number 3. So we'll say excuse 3B. Okay. I've tried before and failed. So why am I going to try again?
I think it's hard because we hear that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. My body doesn't like it.
Yeah. And how many times we said, nah, I've tried that. I can't tell you how many people. I remember talking to a guy that was a big time motivational speaker and has tens of thousands of people follow him and his programs and things. And him saying to us, like, I'm different, right? Like, macros don't work for me. I'm this special breed. Basically, I love the quotes. It's like, I'm a special snowflake kind of concept. Is like, I'm special, I'm different. And so why try again? I got that you're going to tell me to eat healthier and how many calories I come in and make sure they're clean and exercise, but it just doesn't work for me. This is the one that I have learned to have to really bite my tongue on and think back and try to put myself in their shoes because I'll lose it a little bit because I've heard it so much. And from my background, a little bit more technical database, it's like, okay, I call BS on this, but yet we have to be a little careful in speaking it. Um, but it really is. There's no way. And what I mean by no way is, the 1 in a million, and this isn't one of those Napoleon Dynamites. Oh, I got a chance then, right? The girl says 1 in a million chance I'll go out with you. Well, I got a chance. It's not one of those. Let me try truly 1 in a million, where if you're eating whole foods and you're in a caloric deficit just a little bit and you're exercising properly, taking the right nutrients, you're going to reduce body fat. It's going to happen. You're not the special snowflake, suck it up, buttercup type situation. And if people get upset with this, but for doing it for decades and decades and decades and working with other people that do it for decades and decades and decades, it truly is the 1 in a million situation. Because it might be that you don't get to that highest level of reduced body fat, that, okay, that thyroid is a factor for those last few pounds, 3 to 5 pounds, or that last, little bit, or these other hormonal issues. But to a point, it doesn't freaking matter.
Well, and I think right now is also where blood work is really important because then you can kind of pinpoint where the problems have lied in the past. So I really like the quote that's right here. Every failure is a lesson that gets you closer to success. You didn't fail, you just found out what didn't work. So instead of looking at your past tries as failures, look at them as, okay, well, that didn't work. What else you got for me? What else could I try? What new thing is there? And there is always something different that you can definitely try. And also a simpler plan sometimes is the answer. Sometimes we go so hard, so fast, that sometimes it's just about simplifying what you're trying to do. So
I love that. And I think that one of the big things that we'll notice with people that achieve a lot, and we get some of the inside scoop sometimes of some of these great high achievers, and we see that they do struggle a lot more than they tell the public, right? And we see the struggles on the inside, whether it be family or whatever. But the difference maker that we see is that they don't look at things as failures. And it's one of my favorite things is there's no lose, there's only learns. You either win or you learn, or win or you learn, win or learn. And I love looking at that on life. It's like, oh, I learned. It might be a little more painful learn than other learns, but it was a learn. And if you look at it from that standpoint, it won't stop you from, why try again, the excuse we're talking about right now. And I love the quote that you're not defined by your past, you're defined by what you do next. And that's really the key. Is like how many times we know we should be doing something, but we got in this bad loop for a while of, not exercising, not eating healthy, whatever it might be. And we're using that as an excuse when really what you're being defined at right now is what you do next. So just right now, decide what you do next is the healthy thing and start doing a healthy thing. Like you don't have to worry about the past. And I think a lot of people will use that. Well, because I haven't been good and do that, like starting now and I should have done it before and all that. It is just excuses. Just decide now that what you're being defined as yourself is your actions right now. So that's a good one.
So we've mentioned this quote many times throughout our podcast, and it's the quote that David Meltzer uses often. It's if you have your health, you have 1,000 wishes. If you don't, you only have one. And obviously that wish is to be healthy. So, and I think really internalizing that quote for all of us could be really beneficial. Looking at some time in our lives when we've not felt well, when we've had family around and really wanted to be a part of the party or the conversations, and we had some ailment that took us away, a headache, or, we had the flu or whatever. So, if we don't invest in our health now, then eventually it's going to catch up with us, and we're going to be taking time away from our friends and family and our loved ones in a way that would far disrupt than just the few hours here and there to take advantage of living a healthier lifestyle.
And I like that we're just, kind of going into this quote because we have spoken it so much, right? And I think really internalizing it, because it's such an important part of what we teach and what David teaches, that going into it for a second, a little bit different, because that quote's really powerful. The people that have had, as you'd mentioned, serious issues, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's important. And we met a lot of people that they're really into helping that because they had this health scare, right? They're like, man, I got to a point where the only thing I wanted was to be able to have energy and be able to walk and to be healthy. And I realized that, so I turned my life around. But for those that hear that quote right now, most of you out there aren't in that position of, extreme pain and injury, or, health issue and suffering from, recovering from a heart attack at the moment or anything like that. Most people are generally healthy, and you hear that quote and you're like, oh, that's a good quote. But if you would take a moment and say, okay, I've heard that quote a lot, it must be important. Let's dive deeper. And we're asking you to dive a little deeper into that right now and think truly in that moment. Think about being somewhere that you really want to be with who you want to be with, and not having your health. And I'm not talking about being in a wheelchair or anything. I'm talking about having a major headache, stomach pains, some issue going on in your body that you're just not able to enjoy the moment at the highest level. And realize that the high majority of the time, that the reason that event happens is because of choices of poor nutrition and lack of exercise. Most of the time, the major cause of disease is lifestyle. And let that sink in before it happens, and say, okay, you know what? I don't want to be in that position that I only have one wish. And so because I don't want to be in that position, I am going to make healthier choices today. And it is a tougher route, right? It's a tougher route to get the oil changed and do maintenance and improve the health of things besides just fixing a flat tire, right? That you have to do in that moment. We got that. But that's why hopefully in this podcast, you can do that reflection on that quote. And we kind of wanted to end with that because of how many times we spoke of it, ask you to look at it from a different angle and frame it a little bit different, and truly think of an event to where you wouldn't be able to enjoy it because of too much weight, because of too much pain, too much whatever that comes from lifestyle, and fix those things now. And that's kind of the action step that I'd hope that our listeners would take today. So why don't we kind of summarize a little bit and recap some of those things, and kind of bring it back in that.
Okay.
So, excuse one was that?
You made me go all the way back here.
Yep.
Okay, so excuse number one was our time. The amount of time that it takes to live a healthy lifestyle, whether it's nutrition or exercise.
Take your phone and look how much screen time.
Yep. And then just, commit to small action steps, right? Number two, you don't like healthy food or gym workouts. So, look at things that you can sub out and stop purchasing, and replace with some healthier items, and find an exercise that you like, something that keeps you active, that really sparks your interest. There's high rocks now. There's marathons, there's 5Ks, there's
the mutters.
There's so many different activities. There's honestly, if right now what will help is what does everybody love with the
pickleball?
Pickleball. If pickleball's what's going to get you moving, start with pickleball.
Absolutely. And so, excuse three?
It's not worth the effort. I don't see results fast enough.
That's a big one.
Internalize, look at your health from a different aspect, not on what is happening outward, but what is happening inward.
Return on investment.
Allow some time to go by, push through the time that you usually give up, and push through that and see what magic happens. Get your blood work done.
I've tried and I failed, so why try again?
You now know what not to do. Let's look at what we can do, and kind of look at why it didn't work the previous time.
Yeah, you never lose, you learn. And, super powerful statement, takeaway to use in all parts of your life. So bottom line is, choose one small action, eat one veggie a day, the walks, everything Hillary's talking about, schedule it. The key is that, put it on your calendar, make it a non-negotiable. And we didn't mention that word in the podcast, but it's great to say, what are my non-negotiables? And I've just spent 2 days at a big seminar with a lot of companies there that are doing great things. And one of the things at the end was, okay, everyone take a look at your list, but now which ones can you say, no matter what, you can commit to do? No matter what, you might have to move some things around. It might take a little sacrifice, but which ones can you commit to do? Only do that. Only do that. So what are your non-negotiables? Which things can you put in your life right now, right? Not tomorrow, not next week, that are non-negotiable. That one thing, quit drinking soda, right? 15 minutes a day, a walk a day, and then build on it and commit to build on it. So create a non-negotiable, commit to build on it. That takes care of most excuses that you'll have. And probably the biggest thing that I could recommend, especially even coming off of this weekend. I love giving takeaways when we're away and, learn different things. Is the thing that keeps coming up more and more and more and more is the number one rule is take action now, not tomorrow, right? Not even a few hours from now. Take action right now. And that's the key.
And I think an action step right now can be download the Healthy Habits Tracker, because even at the end of this podcast, if you're like, well, I just don't even know where to start, that right there will give you even the 21-day challenge where you can start today and just look through and mark off each action item as you go.
And remember to use your doctor's code if he has one, or your doctor, he or she has one from OHS, and that's what activates the Healthy Habits Tracker, or use OHS Doug for now. And then if you are with one of our great holistic health practitioners around the nation, make sure you ask what their code is, and you can change that out. So, man, I'm real excited about you all making some choices to not allow excuses to get in the way of your health and fitness goals and other goals that you have in life that are important to you, and take action now. Hopefully some of these steps help. Make sure you leave some comments, and remember to like and subscribe. As always, this is Miss Natural Olympia Hillary.
And this is Doug the Formulator.
Peace
See you
out.
next time.